Hello and welcome to another online session for Acuity Star. My name is Paul Malcolmson, and in this session I will provide a brief introduction to the Acuity Star application. To start with, we'll always recommend using the Firefox browser. This is what the vendor recommends and what the system has been written and coded towards. So I've started a Firefox session, and if I were to Google UWO Star, I look, and it should be the very first to show up, this STAR portal, Schulich School of Medicine and Dentistry. Clicking on that link will take us to the STAR portal. The portal is our knowledge base. This might be where you found this video from. Our other online YouTube videos are there as well, and also a host of other help resources and everything that I'll cover in either later in this session or in another session. So to access the system, we'll click on this image, and you'll notice another tab has opened up with expecting some login credentials. If you don't have a login for Acuity Star, if you've never received a user ID and password, then please contact your Star coordinator, and that could be that person can be located under the contacts menu in the Star portal. So once you have your login, enter this in. This password does not expire, and you can't lock yourself out. Some systems have 3 times and you're out or locked. This won't do that. So Acuity Star, there is the dynamic purple menu down the side, and when you first log on the right hand side, you'll see the splash screen. Now this will list the new things that have happened. About maybe 4 times a year we launch new features and new things to the system. So you'll see, and it's useful and beneficial to read through this to see what has changed. And then by default you're presented with the All Activities view. The All Activities view is a way to access every screen across STAR. So it's logically grouped into 5 sections: subject areas, personal data, education, career experience, research and scholarly activities, teaching activities, service and administration. And I'll briefly show you the screens that are available here. If I were to click on personal data, the menu opens, and you'll see that there are a series of screens that have been grouped together to make up the personal data. And this is basically who you are: your background, where you work, your cross appointment, your primary appointment, your office address, your maintenance of certification. So that would be for your licensing college, where you can record your continuing credits, your MoComp or your main port activities. So for example, if I were to click on personal data summary, you will see this. And this is the data grid on the right hand side. So the data grid is scrollable. It's kind of like Excel, and it shows you the fields in a read-only fashion, the fields that are and records that have been entered into the system. To look at the first or to look at a data entry screen, we're going to click on the edit button. This will produce a pop-up window that I have to resize, and this pop-up window will show you the screens that are, or the fields that are available for data entry. So for example, we can upload a photograph in personal data, but every screen in STAR is structured the same way. We've got drop-down menus, we've got text fields, radio buttons, a date field, and dates are always recorded in STAR as year, month, day. And it's also important to note that if there are dashes at the top of any of the date drop-down menus, it means that that element of the date is optional. It's not mandatory. And the last thing I would recommend or mention is that when you have a large text box, you can cut and paste this information. So this would be exactly the same as any other function on your computer. On a Windows computer, Control-C, Control-V, or edit, copy, edit, paste. You don't have to retype large strings of text. And then to finish on a data entry screen, if we scroll down to the bottom, you'll have your control buttons: update, save, reset, and cancel. Save means I'm done. I can write this record to the system and close the window. Update means I'm not done with this screen, but save the information, sort of an interim save. Reset means I goofed and I'd like to start again, so it reloads the screen from the database. And cancel is the same as clicking the red X. It will close the window. In this case, I'm going to save the record. And you'll also notice that this date date and timestamp, the last modified date, will be updated. Navigating from screen to screen will refresh all of the right-hand screen, your data grid, and walking across, if we look at personal data, if we close that and then move into education, you'll see some of the things under education. So there's where your formal education goes. Other specialized training is typically where we recommend things like your fellowship or where you did your residency, or anything other that is specialized training. Any licenses that you have received or certifications, the associations that you belong to, any past positions held, things like that. Research is where you will see things like your funded research, publications, presentations, peer review activities. Those tend to be the four fairly busy screens. And then teaching activities is where you'll record your program teaching. And if your department uses clinical service teaching, then you would separate the two. So program teaching being more of the didactic type style of teaching. Clinical service would be bedside ward teaching or in a clinical environment. And if you're not sure whether your department uses clinical teaching or not, then just please check with your STAR coordinator. They will let you know. And then also things like mentoring and supervisory experience. The last menu is service and administration. That's the administrative committees. So hopefully this introduction gives you a brief demonstration to the system, how to access it. All of the screens, or some of the larger and busier screens in STAR, I do have other videos for, so please look for those on YouTube. Thanks. Have a good day.